Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. For those of you watching out on our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel, you'll see my latest Sporticulture edition is the Maryland Terrapins Magma Lamp with the gold magma that looks like the gold shoes that the Terps are wearing on Saturday night. This guy, I don't know what color shoes he wears, probably red or black or gold, in the WNST studios each and every Monday morning from 8 until 9 and replay during lunchtime on Mondays. Always great to have Bruce Posner here, a many time guest, but now a host at WNST as well with all of his Terp talk. And, Bruce, we're all licking our wounds a little bit over Saturday night. And look, I'm not one of these consolation prize kind of guys, and we still have a big tournament ahead next week, and then, of course, the big tournament ahead later on in the month and the seeding and all that. But it was really nice to have a night where the whole world stopped for the Terps. I was out in Timonium with a friend celebrating his 50th birthday. Everybody in the bar was watching the game. Everybody was glued, even when they were losing 14-2. And everybody on my timeline that was, my friend Gus was there. You were there. My friend Hope was at the game. Peter DeLutis, my dear friend, took his mom to the game and went out and got scalped on the internet Saturday. It was a big game. It was old school Saturday night. It really was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was big, but it was very disappointing. With game day being there, it was really a big event. Now, Maryland's had big national games. What the heck? They had one 2 weeks ago against Michigan State, and they beat them. I mean, almost every game Maryland's playing now, and you know why. When Maryland's great, you got the BW at Baltimore, Washington area, the East Coast area. That's why Maryland's a basketball semi-power, or at least used to be, but they're on the track back. But this is a game, Nestor, had they won this game, they might have moved to Joe Lunardi's top four, which would be a 1 seed. Well, I don't have to tell you that when you're rolling as a 1 seed, you're cooking a lot easier into the Sweet 16 and even further beyond. It's the second week in a row. They lost to Ohio State, and then they lost Saturday night to Michigan State. But I'll be honest with you, they got beat badly on Saturday night. It was not a match. You're down 17-2. You battle back to 23-all, and from that moment on, they never got close again. It was not their night, but when Maryland this year has had one problem, that when they don't get real production from Eric Ayala and Aaron Wiggins, or at least one of them, there is that tendency to lose. So what happens? Ayala goes 0 for 4, and Wiggins goes 1 for 7. You're not going to win that game. I don't care what else happened. Michigan State played great. They came out. They were going to the wall. They were playing rough. They were doing everything right. But when two of your starters go 1 for 11 and do not hit a 3 and even shoot badly from the foul line, you're not going to win.
Well, Winston and Tillman were also outstanding. And look, you got to tip your cap. This was a Michigan State team that was thought to be the best team in the nation by many people when the season began. They struggled and went through their period of time. And now they're coming back to say, hey, you don't want to see us later on in the month in Indianapolis or on your punch card once the dance comes out. But this speaks to the depth, right, Bruce? I mean, for Maryland, when you talk about where is the depth and whether a program has to have 8 or 9 guys, you have to do that if you want to give fouls. You have to do that if you get in foul trouble. You have to do that if guys get winded. I know once we get to the tournament, these TV timeouts take forever. So it probably will play more in their favor at that point than it does during these sort of long stretches where you're getting on planes and flying out to the Midwest on 20-degree nights. But they are a little thinner than you probably would want them to be from a depth perspective, right?
Agreed. And look, the travel thing, every Big Ten team goes through it. Maryland played Minnesota, a tremendously emotional game that they came back to win on Morcell's jumper. And then it was over at midnight. They had to wait for their plane to like 3 in the morning. They didn't get home to 7 on Thursday. This is not an excuse, but this does affect the games. And I'll tell you what else. To me, if game day never returns to Maryland, I could care less. I'm serious. because I think it really threw off the Terps. You know, Cowan was there. Turgeon had to go there, and you know Mark well enough to know that he's not like a media guy. He could care less. All he cares about is winning. And, of course, that's part of his job, though, and he was a good sport about it. But 2 weeks ago, the game day was at Michigan State, and when the Terps beat them, they were crying about it the whole time. And I talked to some of the Michigan State people, and they felt the biggest advantage that they had coming into this game was the distraction of game day. And to me, if I never see it again, I could care less because I do not think it was positive. I'm not blaming it on that. But, you know, Baylor was undefeated. They had game day and got blown out by Kansas.
Well, I mean, people get going early, and I would say that for some in the fan base, they left the game in the pregame, right? I mean, that thing gets going all day. It's cold. It's you're outside. The whole place gets wound up. Look, I was on the bus Thursday night down in Canton, Bruce. ESPN and State Farm brought the bus in. My friend Mimi Brown down in Canton, she won the State Farm competition. We went down. There were Terps fans all out in Canton on Thursday night. I do think it had sort of a playoff vibe that let everybody know this is a big deal, right? And for that, I think it's a shame Maryland didn't capitalize on it, but I think it's where you want the program to be, right?
Yeah, of course. I know I'm not saying that, but look, it seemed bigger than one game, but Nestor, Maryland still is in the driver's seat. They go to Rutgers and they could win on Wednesday night, and they come home to play a Michigan team where they will be somewhat of a big favorite. And, you know, you win both games, you're undisputed Big Ten champion. And that means a lot. I mean, it means a whole lot. Even if they split the two games, they will wind up being at least co-champions. That wouldn't be the end of the world either. But for the momentum, for the possibility of a number one seed, for the mentality of losing again to Michigan State, it was not a great night for the Terps. But you know what? At least they were in the position where they were playing the biggest game in the nation that day. And it did not work out. Look, you know, it's funny. People said to me, why in the world is Maryland only a 2-point favorite against Michigan State? Because they beat them by 7 there. And you know what the answer is? Tom Izzo means 4 points. Tom Izzo is what, you know this, I don't have to tell you, but everybody knows it. One of the great coaches, and this is no knock to Turgeon, one of the greatest coaches there's ever been in college. And how he brings his team around toward the end, and they were just unbelievable. He just had those guys really ready to go, and that was it. But look, Turgeon's done an unbelievable job, even being co-champion of the Big Ten in the greatest year of the Big Ten ever.
Well, I appreciate that Izzo had a sense of humor afterward about the half-court shot, right? I mean, it was sort of like that half-court shot really took – I mean, Maryland had clawed back in. They were into that half-court shot. Then in the second half, they never got their sea legs under them. And I know Izzo was kidding around about it after, but those kids hit big shots. They were pissed off that they lost at Sparty a couple weeks ago, right?
There's no doubt about it. They were devastated that night. Izzo tortured them. He had all the champions from the 2000 team, and he was so mad. But you know what? Maryland was great that night. Cal was great. But you lose to somebody, you kind of pick up what you have to do. Sometimes a loss isn't the end of the world. It's kind of like a wake-up call. But Maryland's been playing it too close for comfort, man. You know, down by 17 to Minnesota, having to come back and figure out how to win. It's going time and time again, but they do know how to win, Nestor. Turgeon's always had a history of winning close games, a tremendous history.
He is Bruce Posner. He'll be here on Monday mornings. Terp Talk is the way to find him. He's here every Monday from 8 until 9. Back again on Monday afternoon for a rebroadcast of the morning programming, usually around the Terps. At some point, you'll get to the Terps lacrosse, right? You did that last week.
Right. Of course, we got to give credit and ups to our sponsor, Science at Kirk. Name of the show is In the Nest every Monday, 52 weeks a year. And we recap the weekend and Maryland lacrosse. You give John Tillman 11 days to prepare for any team in college lacrosse, and he's not going to lose. Maryland came out. Notre Dame was 5, Maryland was 8. And if you would have seen the game, Nestor, 64 shots for Maryland
Wow.
and 31 for Notre Dame. That tells you the entire story. They won the face-offs. They won the ground balls. They won the goal count, which is the only thing that matters. And they beat a great Notre Dame team, to tell you the truth, rather handily.
Well, there you go. So not all bad news out of College Park over the weekend as lacrosse season heats up. Of course, in the Nest, they'll be doing it every Monday morning. Bruce is here from 8 until 9. Sometimes I drop by. Sometimes Luke drops by. Sometimes John Tillman drops by. And certainly the next couple of weeks as we get ready for the Big Ten tournament, getting ready for March Madness and the brackets coming out. Do you have any desire for the Terps in all of this other than that they get through Rutgers and Michigan and win some games next weekend, but do you have a pathway that would be a preferred pathway or site? What are you going to be rooting for 2 weeks from Sunday?
Well, I'd like to see us get a strong 2 seed and wind up in the East. And I don't give a damn who we have to play. I'd like to see us I'd like to be in the East because you go from Greensboro to Madison Square Garden. And then if you were that lucky, you go to Atlanta. That's a great route. You go out west, the fans aren't going to travel as well. You know that. And it's a different feeling. That doesn't mean they can't do well, but I'd like to see them in the East. Of course, I'll take a higher seed anywhere else in the country, too. But, and boy, would I love to get a shot at Duke along the way. I really would. This Duke thing is absurd that they won't play us. It's almost ridiculous. But right now, I just want to win. I want to get to that Final Four in the worst way. So does Turgeon, and I don't see any reason why we don't have a shot. There's not one team out there, not one team, Nestor, that on our good day that we can't beat. When we have a Yellow and Wiggins, and we got maybe the best power forward in the country, all right, and Jalen Smith, who's improved so much, it's unbelievable, and Callan can be on a given day, the Terps could beat anybody in the nation. I believe that with all my heart.
Terps getting after Rutgers on Tuesday night, then back home against Michigan and the Wolverines over the weekend. Big Ten tournament begins at the end of next week. Terps expecting double bye, and we'll be playing some basketball next weekend out in Indianapolis in the Big Ten tournament. Every Monday, Bruce is here getting it done. I know you're a little under the weather, man. We got to get that tickle down in your throat a little bit. Hydrate yourself, vitamin C. We got a lot of basketball this month, Bruce. We need you, man.
Well, I'll be fine. I'm just going to stay home this week because not going to go to Rutgers. I backed out of going to Rutgers because of the slate cold.
Well, it's New Jersey. Who needs that? Who needs all that?
Right.
Take care of yourself. We'll see you on Monday morning. Be good.
You got it, buddy.
You got it. Bruce Posner in the Nest. The way to find them 8 until 9 on Monday mornings here at WNST.net. You can find all his work at Terp Talk on Twitter and at terptalk.com. And that's not just basketball in his world. Lacrosse, ladies basketball, the whole deal. Football as well with all things Terps with Bruce Posner. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I have my Terp Magma lamp out, courtesy of Court Smith and our friends over at Sporticulture. You can order one of these. Just go to sporticulture.com. They have them up there. The Magma lamp with the gold magma. It's kind of cool. I've retired my Ravens one. I have that on the other side here. I'll break that one back out there in the draft. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, BaltimorePositive.com this week with Sheila Dixon, as well as Frank Kelly from down at Fadley's. Ted Venetoulas from last week at State Fair. Lots and lots of things coming up, including Stuart Pittman, who is the Anne Arundel County executive, as well as Barry Glassman, the Harford County executive, coming up on Baltimore Positive later on this month. We're looking at all the mayoral candidates. April 14th, make sure you're holding that date for a special forum with all of the mayor candidates from 11 to 1. We'll be telling you more about that later on in the week as Don Moeller and I break that story. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. We're licking our wounds of the Terps, but remaining vigilant and hopeful for better progress in March Madness. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.